A warm welcome to this brief guide to the update for Ruler Waves 3 that is beta 37. It's actually 39, but 39 is only a couple of little minor tweaks. 37 has the guts of it. Nothing revolutionary, but across the board, a number of reasonably important tweaks. So let's get through a little list. First of all, game save file improvements. Now, who doesn't love a game save file improvement? But they've streamlined this to make the cloud save on Steam more robust and reliable and simpler and smaller. So hooray for that. It may take a little while to convert your file, your game file, and it may generate a few errors that you can manually fix. It was fine with mine. And it'll stick it in a new place within your file directory. So within your username area under Documents, My Files, Ruler Waves 3 is the new place for these save files. The old ones will stay in their old place. So if you have any big problems, you can always go back to your original save file. You can also load the latest autosave rather than the full thing. So again, if there was any kind of problem with your file, you could load that too. The ship design file has also been improved. They've added an import-export button. Let me just show you that. So here we are under ship design. Within the graphics tab, there's this load ship design and export ship design, load import. It means in practice that you'll be able to much more easily collaborate on ship designs with your fellow admirals. I can feel something coming on for my own channel in this. They've also added the auto carrier conversion and the auto angle deck buttons to the flight installation box. I want to go back, go to additional armament. They are here. They're grayed out because this isn't a carrier, but auto flight deck and auto carrier conversion are there. Not huge, but really useful. There's also an upgrade button for your guns when they get a better quality. So previously you had to kind of go to the gun and then go down to the lower quality and then go back up and see if there was, and all of that. No, it'll tell you if there's a better quality gun available, and there'll be an upgrade button to make that happen. So that's nice. And likewise with the game files, they'll be moving the ship design files to an easy to find place under your Documents, My Games, Ruler Waves 3, Save Ship Designs. In terms of the gameplay, a few improvements to the strategic element of the game. So your victory point loss for declining a battle, which is a long way away from your bases, will be reduced. So there'll be less of a penalty for not showing up for those battles. Home areas with 200 plus basing capacity will now be able to rebuild ships. This is really around the Russian Far East and the US West Coast, neither of which start with 200 basing capacity. So you can build that bases up and then use them to rebuild. Ships will be sent to the closest yard when they're damaged. And they've increased the maximum number of ships that can be built at one time in the build ship screen to 25. I didn't know there was a limit, but anyhow, it's been increased. Next, they've adjusted some inconsistencies in the actions of allied nations in multi-nation war. They didn't explain what those are, but hopefully the multi-nation wars will feel a little bit more realistic. They've increased the cost of missile systems and missile maintenance. Boo! Yeah, you'll have to contain yourself with your wonder weapon a little bit. And nations at war with you will not ask to buy a license for your aircraft. Seems logical enough. I've never tried to buy licenses from my enemies. The battle generator has also had a few tweaked improvements. So allied forces can now appear as a support force. On the preview, the battle preview screen, they listed all the divisions and the divisions of all the ships. They've now added speed and displacement to make it easier to match ships when you're adding a ship to a division. Within the battles, they've adjusted HE penetration and splinters against armored areas. The field army batteries, I don't know what those are, will only fire HEs. I assume that doesn't mean coastal artillery, because obviously coastal artillery is primarily naval. Radar, and if you know, let me know in the comments. Radar blind fire range will be reduced to 80% of the sighting range. So the gunnery range with radar and the sighting radar range will now have a little bit of a difference. The gyro stabilizer tech will reduce sea state penalties when you're shooting. And there's going to be improved AI convoy defense, which, is much needed, really. The AI has always been terrible at defending convoys. And they're going to reduce surface-to-air missile hit rates. Apparently they were much too good. So again, boo. Coming over to aircraft, there's been some nice little enhancements, particularly for float planes. So you'll now be able to base 12 float planes, a squadron, on any land-based air, on any... Ooh, you know what I mean, without it counting to the airbase's capacity. So it makes them just much more useful, particularly in the teens and the 20s. Pre-1930s float planes with a bomb and bomb priority, you get the what kind of plane would you like, range, firepower, blah, blah, blah. If you say bomb and bomb, it'll be able to carry torpedoes. That is very useful for the early game. And again, in pre-1930s, the planes can be used as a strike force from AVs. Sorry, that got auto-corrected there. Without having to use catapults. So making AVs more powerful ships. Finally, there has been added a production column to the aircraft types screen. Let me show you that. Get rid of this and into aircraft types. And so here we are right at the end. So now for each airplane that you have, you can see how many is in service with these two numbers. So the first is the number currently at air bases, and the second is the number authorized. So I have 29 of these Henschel light jet fighters on air bases, and 29 is the authorized strength, so they're at full strength. There's 6 on stock, and then there's this production column, the number of aircraft delivered last month. Now it's all showing 0 because I've just fired up the game. I'm going to play an episode in a moment, and so it doesn't have any history. But as soon as we go into the next month, it will show how many were produced. And the intention is to really make it apparent how much heavy aircraft losses are going to hurt you. So that's that one. They've also tweaked officers a bit. So your area commander's ability will now affect the chance of an unexpected battle. It doesn't say how, but I'm presuming that if your area commander is a bit poor, they're likely to get more unexpected battles. Rear admirals can now auto-promote in the same way that anybody else would auto-promote. And you have the ability to promote a senior officer for free once a turn. So officers with the same seniority. Again, let me just show you that. Okay, here we have our officers, and they're sorted by rank here. And you'll notice that Neitzel here is our most senior admiral, and he gets this little up arrow to indicate he could be auto-promoted. Now, there is no rank above admiral, so you can forget him. But you can see under the rear admirals, there are in fact 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 5 rear admirals, each with maximum seniority. So you could promote any one of those 5 with this little up arrow for free once a turn, we go to the Captain zur Seas, we'll find that Captain Kaiser is 15 years seniority. Unfortunately, he's incompetent, so we won't be promoting him. So again, it's a nice little wrinkle to add to our control of officers. Next up, rate of fire enthusiasts will get a minus 10% accuracy, as well as the 10% increase in rate of fire. So something to consider if you want to rate of fire enthusiasts. They are a bit wild. And they've prevented assigning bad officers to empty divisions. Well, I mean, that is a bit cheesy. I never even thought of it, but you can't do it anymore. So just pack that bad behavior in. Other improvements, they've adjusted submarine build times by a lot. So coastal submarines now cost only 10 months to build. I think off the top of my head they were 14. And submarines and mine-laying submarines and large submarines only cost 12 months to build. And again, I think they were 16. This is really going to be an important thing for long wars, because with 14 and 16 months, the majority of wars would be over before you had a chance to crank up your submarine production. But with only 10 months, of course, you're going to start building some coastal submarines and probably some of the bigger ones as well. So that's quite a significant change. They've added the option to see aggregate submarine sinking. So at the end of a turn, you see one sinking and another and another and another. You can still do that, but you can also have an option now just to have them all summed up. Useful if you've, gone completely bananas on your submarines and you've got loads and loads and loads of them. When scrapping a ship, you will sometimes get the option to sell it to a smaller, poorer country. Looking at you, Spain. And finally, the spacebar will now pause only as an option. So actually in Beta 37, they made it only that the spacebar paused, and then people said, no, I like to pause and unpause with the spacebar. So in Beta 39, they swapped that into that. The Alt key will run the game for a minute. And that's it. A hodgepodge, but an interesting one of different stuff that you can now do or not do with the game. I hope you found that useful summary. I'll see you all in the next episode of my Germany 1935 series, which is in the middle of a giant war with Britain and France. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.